What's good, y'all? It's Coach Chris Go. 7 potential trade destinations for Jimmy Butler. Who should trade for Jimmy? Who could Jimmy help instantly? I don't think it's smart for a team that's not in contention to trade for him. Young teams, teams that are rebuilding. I don't think it's smart. You need somebody that's going to take you over the hump. Jimmy could potentially be that person, but a young team trading for a 34, 35-year-old superstar, I don't think that's real smart. So I came across this article on Hoops Hype. Shout out to Hoops Hype. Kind of interesting to see what 7 teams they have listed as potential trade destinations, and if it really makes sense. So Houston, to be honest, I don't think that this makes much sense from Houston's standpoint because they're so young. Like their core, the oldest of their core is probably 24, 25, if even. You put somebody in there that's 34, 35 years of age. I don't think Houston right now, what is it, 17-9 as of today, but they're a young team. I mean, they're right now, they're overachieving. I think they're like 3rd in the West. Plugging Jimmy into this squad. Now, if they could get Jimmy in free agency, if this was free agency, this is completely different. You can sign him as a free agent. This is completely different. But if Miami is looking to trade Jimmy Butler, then they're probably looking to maybe build around Tyler Hero or Bam or whomever. So they're going to want to bring young pieces in for Jimmy, and so that pretty much negates what Houston has set up. So I don't think this makes much sense from Houston's standpoint to make a trade for Jimmy. Dallas, that could work. You got a star in Kyrie that's about the same age as Jimmy, maybe a year younger or two, maybe. Luka is he's not old, but you put Jimmy along with Kyrie and Luka, and if you can keep Clay. Now I don't know who Dallas would have to give up in a potential trade. Grimes, or they still got the kid Hardy. One of those bigs would probably have to go, Lively or Gafford. If I'm Dallas, I'm intrigued. I might look into that because I think if they could acquire Jimmy without giving up both of their bigs and Klay Thompson, then you look at a starting lineup of Kyrie and Luka, Jimmy. I guess you would bring PJ off the bench, start Klay, or you can bring Klay off the bench. Well, I don't know. Klay may not want to come off the bench because he didn't want to in Golden State. So I don't know what the lineup would look like if they. I mean, Klay may have to be a part of that trade. So I don't know. But I mean, that could potentially be a good fit, and I wouldn't be mad at it because I do live in the DF-Dub. So Orlando again is another one of those young teams that I'm not sure. So they have the 7th youngest team in the league. I don't think that this makes sense because I don't think Jimmy Butler, in addition to Jimmy Butler to their roster, puts them over the top, even in the Eastern Conference. I mean, they're gonna have to give up some of their young pieces, and their young pieces is what has them thriving now. So I don't think that Orlando is much like Houston. I don't think that plugging in an older type of superstar would be beneficial for them. Just continue to add to the youth with more youth. I don't think that works. Lakers, I could just skip right over that. That wouldn't work at all. I don't. Bron and Jimmy on the same team together? No. Bron needs to be around shooters. Like Bron, for him to still be playing at the level that he's playing at damn near 40, he needs shooters around him. Because Bron is ball dominant. So if he's looking to create, but Jimmy's ball dominant too when he is creating. Like they're both playmakers and they can make plays, of course, for themselves, but they make plays for others. I don't think Jimmy and LeBron, I don't think they would mesh well. Now, Jimmy and AD together with no Bron. But as long as Bron there, I don't foresee any superstar wanting to go to LA to play with him. I mean, we've seen Russ go and was a shell of himself. I just don't see it. I don't think there's too many superstars that want to go and be in second fiddle to LeBron in LA. I think that's the reason why Kawhi didn't go to the Lakers. And I just don't see it. But if Bron was out of the way and Butler went to the Lakers and teamed up with AD, it would be him and Bam, on steroids. So as configured right now, the Lakers don't make any sense for Jimmy to go. Golden State. Now, I am a Golden State fan, or rather, I'm a Steph Curry fan. So it would be intriguing to see them make a play to get Jimmy. I think he could fit their scheme. It's contrasting. You don't necessarily. Steph is not a ball dominant superstar. Steph is just as dangerous without the ball as he is with the ball. So you add somebody like Jimmy who can create his own shot, and it's a change of pace, different change of pace. It's kind of sort of similar to what they have now with Wiggins and Kaminga. Those guys mid range post. That's pretty much Jimmy's game. So who they would have to give up? Their youth, of course. So Kaminga would probably have to go. Pajemski, the guys that they held on to for instead of getting Laurie. If Laurie really wanted to, I don't know if he actually wanted to leave Utah, because he did sign the extension, but they were in talks for minutes, for a minute anyways, to potentially get Laurie Markkinen, and they held on to Pajemski. He was pretty much put on the no trade list, as well as Kaminga. But fast forward, those two pieces might be the driving factor for a trade for Jimmy, and you piecing him together with other aging superstars. Steph and that Steph is 36, I think. So that fits in their win now mode. Trying to utilize as much of however long Steph has left in his career, trying to make sure that they maximize it. So it makes sense. This is probably, out of the teams that I've seen thus far, the best fit for Jimmy. And then him and Draymond on the same team together, that'd be interesting. I would hate to see Wiggins go. I think if Golden State had the option of keeping Wiggins or Kaminga, I think they probably would trade Wiggins and keep Kaminga if they could get Jimmy. Moody, Pajemski, those young guys. I mean, just because if you got Jimmy, do you need Wiggins? You know what I'm saying? And if you can keep your youth, because Kaminga could potentially be the guy once Steph is done, once if they get Jimmy, once Jimmy's done. So it's interesting. I think Golden State would be a good fit for him. No, the Pelicans, no. That, they may be they're the worst team in the West. Yeah, they're the worst team in the West, and they're looking to offload their. I mean, they're only holding on to some of their young pieces. They're pretty much saying everybody is fair game. Ingram, they down to trade him. They're down to trade Zion, from what I'm reading. I've seen C.J. McCollum being in trade rumors, potentially to Milwaukee to team up with Lillard again. This would be horrible. And I don't know if Jimmy has a no trade clause in his contract, but he wouldn't want to go there for sure. That wouldn't even make sense. They're not in a position to compete. Now, if everybody was healthy and they're playing, I mean, they've underachieved just because they can't stay healthy. Their main guy, Zion can't stay on the floor. So no, I don't know. No. In Phoenix, nah. I mean, who would they trade? Beal? Nobody wants that contract. They're not going to trade Booker. They're not going to trade KD. One of those guys is going to have to go. You're not going to bring Jimmy Butler to Phoenix and keep all three of those guys. And even if you are able to keep those three guys, you got one basketball. What? No, that don't even make sense. I don't know. I mean, they would have to. One of those guys would have to go. They would have to trade Beal. But why would Miami want that contract? No, he has one of the worst contracts in the NBA. So yeah, out of these 7 teams, I think Golden State and Dallas makes the most sense for Jimmy to go to, for them to make a play for him, because if you're able to keep your core in Dallas, so Kyrie's not going anywhere, Luka's damn sure not going anywhere, and if you can keep Klay Thompson, you can hold on to Lively maybe. Gafford would probably have to go, and then some, I guess, your young pieces on the bench. That makes a lot of sense for Dallas. I mean, that puts them, I think, over the top as being the favorites in the West, at least to come out of the West. I mean, defending Western Conference champions. You add Jimmy Butler, you just got Klay Thompson. And if you can keep Klay, if there is a trade you facilitate and you can keep Klay, that makes a lot of sense for them. And in Golden State, they need some help. They need somebody. They need another star, like a definitive star in Golden State, alongside Steph because right now, I mean, just the other night, I mean, Steph didn't even look. He was horrible. 2 points. He didn't make a basket against Memphis. But in those nights where his shot's not going down, they don't have another guy that can take the game over. It'll be intriguing. I mean, I don't unless they hold out and try to see what Milwaukee does as far as this season and maybe make a play for a big fish like Giannis. In the meantime, between time, if they wanted to make a splash right now and get somebody in that could potentially help them for this season, I think this is a trade that they should look at. As long as they're not, you can't get rid of too many key pieces off of the bench. No, young guys that's not achieving. You think they was gonna turn the page and build off of what they did last year. It hasn't happened yet. If you want to be a bit more patient in that regards, then maybe. But if not, pull the trigger, bring somebody in like Jimmy Butler. He can help them out immediately. But let me know what you think. If you think Jimmy should maybe stay put, if there's an agreement that can be made, they can come to a negotiation and he can stay in Miami, finish his career there, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he's going to win in Miami if he does. Not as number one guy. Or if you think either one of these teams should make a play for Jimmy, bringing him in and potentially put them over the hump, or another team that's not listed on this article. If you think, let me know what you think in the comments. Appreciate you for watching. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, por favor. And if you're new, subscribe on your way out. See you on the next one.